From the shining domicile that is Pittsburgh Comics, my old-mannered comic shop owner, Colin McMahon, transforms into the world's greatest comic book talking TV host. Join us true believers for Comics Now!
Hey everybody, welcome to Comics Now for December 2021. It's that time of year. The Festivus is right around the corner. There's lots of great books to read, lots of good deals to be had. We're going to try doing all sorts of stuff this year here at the store. Sets and little packages and mystery boxes and all sorts of stuff. But what I'm here to talk to you about today is all the great new stuff that's coming. First off, we're doing Grant Morrison month, so if you want something deep and confusing and a really interesting read, we have a nice selection of Grant Morrison books that I find fascinating. So ask questions. And my goal, I'm going to try to get book club going again in January. So I will be talking with people trying to pick a book this month in December so that I can have it in stock for January so people can get reading. I think enough time has passed. Hopefully things have settled down enough that we can get together even in a small group and have book club again. So hopefully things are starting to return to normal in 2022. But let's get through 2021, and here's all the neat stuff that's coming out in December. Lots of interesting stuff coming from DC, so we're going to start there. So there's a regime change with Batman. James Tynion has left the Batman books. He's going off to do his own own thing and is taking a break from DC Comics. So Josh Williamson has stepped in and is taking over the Bat books. And Fear State has ended, and it's the perfect kind of clean slate for Josh Williamson to take over. So it's starting in Batman 118. It's going to be Josh Williamson and Jorge Molina. Abyss Part 1. As Gotham celebrates surviving Fear State, Batman retreats alone into the darkness. But when he learns of a mystery involving Batman Inc., it forces the Caped Crusader to leave Gotham for a brand new adventure. Thrills, chills, and international intrigue await. Then Detective 1047 is also tying into this. It's the Fear State aftermath. Bloody, broken, and beaten Batman had a mission after Joker War. He would no longer look over Gotham City from Wayne Manor. He would move to the heart of the city, get closer to its people and its problems. The fight he pursued would be different, but after Fear State, he finds himself disillusioned. He is no longer the protector the city needs, and definitely not the one it deserves. Batman's last night in Gotham before his international sojourn is here. And just for fun, adding into the Batman family, we have a Batgirls book. This is by Becky Cloonan and Michael Conrad. Mentored by Oracle, Cassandra Cain and Stephanie Brown move to the other side of town where Barbara Gordon can keep a better eye on them, while the hacker Seer is still invading their lives. Steph may be too rash sometimes, and Cass doesn't speak much, but what they lack in similarities they make up for with their mutual respect and love for each other, and what makes them stronger together as Batgirls. Detective 1047 starts the post-Batman era in Detective. They're going weekly for, I believe, 12 issues. The Tower begins. A 12-part weekly event starts here. Arkham Asylum has fallen, and in its place, Arkham Tower has risen in the heart of the city. A pitch made by the mysterious Dr. Ware. Unlike the Asylum, Dr. Ware promises his methods and drug treatments will heal Gotham's criminally inclined for good. A claim that skeptics like Deb Donovan and the Bat family don't believe. There's something wrong with the Tower and Dr. Ware's method, and with Batman away from Gotham City, the rest of the Bat family is going to find out what, but not before everything explodes. We have a Justice League annual. This is by Bendis. The return of Wonder Woman. Also the return of OMAC. Jack Kirby's greatest creation, the One-Man Army Corps, returns to the DC Universe just in time to team up with the reunited Justice League to stop the secret forces of evil from gathering. We have a new Swamp Thing. This is by Jeff Lemire and Doug Mankey, and I love Doug Mankey's art. The Earth is all but done. The last remnants of humanity cling to a mountaintop island lost in endless floodwater. The parliaments of the Green, the Red, and the Rot all agree. It's time to wipe the slate clean and start the cycle of life over again. Then we have World of Krypton by Robert de Venditti and Michael Avon Oeming. A modern telling of one of the most storied periods in comics. Krypton is a utopia admired across the universe for its achievements in science and culture, but its shining towers and regal people conceal a planet rotting at its core. When a catastrophic event befalls Krypton's natural world, it points towards a mass extinction in the making. Jor-El, head of Krypton's revered Science Council, embarks on a mission to save the world that may have already passed the point of no return. We have One Star Squadron. Now, this is going to be a fun book. This is by one of my personal favorites, Mark Russell, and Steve Lieber, who's also a great artist who did the Jimmy Olsen book. Who are you going to call? One Star Squadron. Meet DC's superhero team where heroism meets capitalism. This ragtag group of heroes, read by the Red Tornado, is here to provide service with a smile. All you must do is send a request via their on-demand hero app, and they'll answer any call, whether it's a children's birthday party or an alien invasion. No job is too small or too big. So that's the new stuff from DC. All the other books are still continuing with lots of great stories. Now on to Marvel Comics. They have a bunch of events starting and continuing. We have Devil's Reign #1. This is the wrap-up to Chip Zdarsky's run on Daredevil. We just had the last issue come out, and now it's this 4-issue story with artist Marco Checchetto. Wilson Fisk went from kingpin to mayor of the biggest city in America and is going to bring his full criminal and political power to bear on the superheroes who call New York City home. The man who once destroyed Daredevil has set his sights on the Fantastic Four, Iron Man, Captain America, Spider-Man, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and more. And since it's Fisk, once he takes them all down, you know he's going to sign it. We also have Timeless #1, which is kind of spinning out of the Loki Disney Plus show. How do you win a war against time? A special year-ending adventure that gives portents as to what is to come in the Marvel Universe over the next 12 months. Kang the Conqueror is a warrior, a destroyer, a subjugator, but even he is the subject to the whims and vicissitudes of time itself. So when a parallel timeline threatens to overwrite the future Kang has fought so long and so hard to control, the Master of the Ages has no choice but to walk with time itself, battling through days of tomorrow as he struggles to prevent the end of what is to come. We also have Avengers Forever. This is a future story, or an alternate timeline story from Jason Aaron and Aaron Cooter. An all-new series starring the Avengers of the Multiverse. On a quest for cosmic vengeance, Ghost Rider finds himself roaring through the wasteland of a ruined Earth, while the great age of heroes never came to be. Where hope is a 4-letter word, and where his only ally in the coming battle against the greatest villain any universe has ever seen is the world's most wanted archaeologist, Tony Stark, the invincible Ant-Man. We also have Demon Days is continuing. This is Peach Momoko's story of Psylocke. Mariko Yoshida's journey through the mysterious forest of Kurosaki Mountain has brought her face-to-face with strange and terrible creatures, but she's about to be tested like never before when she crosses paths with literal gods. She's going to be facing Thor in this one. We have an Elektra Black, White, and Blood 4-issue miniseries, which is just a collection of little short stories creators are doing about Elektra. We have a new King Conan book. This is by Jason Aaron and Mahmoud Asrar, a little 6-issue miniseries. Conan's last stand at the edge of the world. When King Conan grows restless on the throne, he sails west towards land and adventure unknown. We also are getting a facsimile edition of the original Conan the Barbarian #1 from the 70s. Ms. Marvel Beyond the Limit #1, a new miniseries for her. While on a break visiting her cousin in Chicago, Kamala Khan stumbles upon a robbery at a university physics lab and maybe sets off an explosion of interdimensional proportions in the process. And then spinning out of the Old Man Logan universe, which is set in the future. Welcome to the post-apocalyptic wastelands, a world where heroes can die, villains can win, and the constant struggle to survive is magnified by threats both personal and cosmic. We've got a bunch of one-shots for this. We have Wastelands Wolverine. The supervillains united and took out most of the world's superheroes decades ago, and while the man known as Logan attempted to live a life of peace, he had to pop the claws once again to do what he does best. But saving the day looks different with the baby Hulk under his care. Is Logan doing the right thing by protecting the progeny of the Hulk or dooming what's left of the war-torn world? Logan may not have long to ponder if he is crushed by the adamantium armor of his newfound enemy, Downfall. We also have a Hawkeye one-shot. Witness the never-before-told story of Hawkeye's training with Stick, the man formerly known as Daredevil. Clint Barton's sight may be gone, but his will to avenge is stronger than ever. And with the training and expert guidance of Matt Murdock, arrows will fly again. But what is Murdock's actual target, and how will this change Hawkeye's path in the wasteland? Also have Wastelander's Doom. Dr. Doom helped wipe out the heroes on the day the villains won. But even as he rules his domain in the Wastelands, a greater destiny calls to him. When a mysterious power blocks his oversight of a particular region, what he discovers will have ripple effects across the Wastelands stories. Wastelander's Black Widow. The Lizard King has grown monstrous and deadlier than ever as the Lord of the Southern Domain. But when rumor breaks that the critical information is believed to be stored in his impenetrable fortress, only the greatest spy of all time is up to the task. The Deadly Black Widow. But who is she and how has she survived these many decades in the Wastelands? And then Wasteland's Star-Lord, who actually caused it all. The legendary Star-Lord has fallen on hard times. With Guardians of the Galaxy disbanded, Peter Quill returned to Earth to find it a wasteland unlike anything he's seen across the stars. Heroes dead, villains in power. While he's taken out one threat, others remain in the Wastelands, and Star-Lord's own desire to assuage his guilt for being off-world during the calamity will land him right in the middle of another. Now, moving on to the Darkhold, which had started, it's also a series of one-shots. We have the Darkhold Spider-Man. After reading from the ancient Darkhold, Spider-Man was meant to gain the power to enter the dread Chthon's dimension and stop him from spreading his mystic darkness across the globe. Instead, the book drove him insane. But what does that mean for the stalwart Peter Parker? And then we have the Darkhold Omega, wrapping it all up. The fate of all existence lies in the hands of 5 twisted minds. 5 of the world's greatest heroes, Spider-Man, Black Bolt, Wasp, Blade, and Iron Man, took a chance and read from the cursed Darkhold. They were meant to gain the power to fight back the dread elder god Chthon, but instead they lost their minds and all they once held dear. Was it worth the cost? And who is their bold new ally? A product of Chthon's dark dimension, or something else entirely? Then, moving on to Death of Doctor Strange, we have a couple one-shots. Blade. A long time ago, Doctor Strange destroyed every vampire in the world with one spell, including Dracula. Now with Strange dead, Dracula's vampire nation celebrates. That doesn't sit too well with Strange's old friend and new vampire nation sheriff, Blade, the vampire hunter. But what happens when interlopers from another dimension invade the vamp's territory and put all of the bloodsuckers' lives at risk? Will Blade do his duty to protect them, or will he help make sure the vampires stay wiped out in this time? We also have Death of Doctor Strange, X-Men Black Knight. All manner of vile, extra-dimensional foes invade Earth following the collapse of Doctor Strange's magical safeguards for the planet. Dane Whitman, aka the Black Knight, receives a terrible vision from the Ebon Siege, while Jax, now sharing the burden of the Ebon he played with her father, rides off to confront a terrible evil attacking London. The X-Men, Krakoa's greatest heroes, have been transformed. But by what? And then we have a new Star Wars book, Star Wars Crimson Reign. The story that began with the War of the Bounty Hunters continues here in the second installment of a trilogy that will reshape the history of the Star Wars galaxy during the Age of Rebellion. So, that's end of Marvel. Now on to the other guys, starting with Image. Lady Mechanica, the monster of the Ministry of Hell. In a Victorian asylum full of grotesque inmates, sadistic guards, and a fanatical doctor, a young lady wakes to find her arms and legs have been replaced with mechanical limbs. But who among this gruesome menagerie is the true monster of the Ministry of Hell? The origins of the notorious adventuress known as Lady Mechanica. The Scorched, a new one in the Spawn line. There's a threat so big that no single hero can stop it. And the formation of this new supergroup is the only thing standing in its way. Members will include Spawn, Redeemer, Gunslinger Spawn, Medieval Spawn, and She-Spawn, with more heroes in the wings. King of Spies is a new one from Mark Millar and Matteo Scalera. The world's greatest secret agent has 6 months to live. Does he die quietly in a hospital bed, or does he make up for a lifetime of bad decisions? He's been propping up an unfair system for over 40 years. Now he knows where all the bodies are buried and has nothing to lose when he turns his guns on everyone who ever made a buck creating this mess we're in right now. Nocterra special, Blacktop Bill. This is a little one-shot for the Nocterra series from Scott Snyder. Behold the book of Blacktop Bill. In the wake of the first arc's most explosive finale, the origin of Nocterra's most terrifying creature will at last be revealed. Then we also have a little two-parter Stray Dogs follow-up, Dog Days. A series of vicious short stories. In Dog Days, each stray will get its moment to shine. Questions will be answered, mysteries will be solved, and old wounds will be torn open. Now on to Dark Horse. They have some neat ones. We have The Icon from Mike Richardson, who's the owner of Dark Horse. He's written books for 20-some years now. 25 years ago, a genuine masked hero came out of nowhere to declare war on crime. All of America celebrated the exploits of the black-clad vigilante as he took down one lawbreaker after another, and then he disappeared. But when down on his luck, investigator Jake Stevens is hired to find the long-missing Dark Avenger, his inquiries threaten to expose the myth behind the mask. Daisy #1. A desperate mother's 5-year search for her missing son leads her to the small town of Brymont and to the mysterious Phillips family. Daisy Phillips, like many teenagers, has a hard time fitting in, but not for all the usual reasons. Daisy stands 8.5 feet tall and is still growing, but her troubles with ill health, daily ridicule, and custom-made clothing are only the tip of the iceberg. Daisy may well be descended from a race of cannibalistic giants spawned from the outcasts of heaven. And Snow Angels #1. This is from Jeff Lemire. It was originally a digital book that they're collecting now, but it's Jeff Lemire and Jock. Millie and May don't really know how their people came to live here. No one does, not even their wise and gentle father. On Millie's 12th birthday, their father takes the two girls on an overnight skate down the trench, a coming-of-age ritual to teach them how to fish the whirring river, how to hunt the wild trench dogs that wander the frigid banks, and how to give proper thanks to their frozen gods. Sir Edward Grey Archon. This is the first book in a long time written and drawn by Mike Mignola. Hellboy's gone, and the BPRD managed to fight off the monsters on Earth long enough for humanity to just barely escape underground. But Edward Grey must return to Hell to confront a familiar foe and finish what needs to be done to truly save the world. And then another digital one that's getting print, The All-Nighter. This is by Chip Zdarsky. Welcome to The All-Nighter, the only diner in town where you can get coffee and a meal from sunset to sunrise. The staff is friendly and happy to serve you, and it would never cross their minds to drink their customers' blood. Alex is bored. Flipping burgers for strangers all night is no way for a vampire to live. But he and his fellow vampires, Joy, Cynthia, and Ian, have agreed to blend into human society, inspired by superhero movies. Alex decides to don a cape and start fighting bad guys, but his decision will have bigger consequences than he realizes for himself and everyone he wants to protect. Dynamite has a new one, Vampirella Dracula Unholy. Following the wedding of Vampirella and Dracula, this is a new one where the honeymoon begins. And there's a new Evil Ernie book. After Ernest Glickman is mortally wounded, he discovers he must pay down his new lease on life by serving as a part-time fixer for a death cult. Each time he manifests his dark side as Evil Ernie, it becomes harder to maintain his tenuous grip on his inherently good humanity. Boom has a couple new ones. Buckhead #1. What strange secrets lie in the mysterious town of Buckhead, USA? Toba and his mother, a renowned scientist, have just immigrated to the U.S., but instead of living in the big city like Toba always dreamed of, they moved to a sleepy little town in the Pacific Northwest called Buckhead. In the middle of this picturesque and pedestrian town, Toba discovers that they aren't as perfect as they seem. Toba and his newfound friends find a strange video game, a perfect replica of the town and its people. Soon Toba is on the run from the men in black with his friends brainwashed by microchips. Buffy the Last Vampire Slayer. Can a lone slayer save what's left of humanity? Buffy Summers is the last slayer. Now in her 50s, she wages a one-woman fight against the forces of darkness, who prey on humanity in the daylight unimpeded thanks to a magical catastrophe that has nearly blotted out the sun. The same disaster that robbed Buffy of all her friends and ended the Slayer line, forcing her into an endless guerrilla war. That is, until she stumbles across something she hadn't seen in a long time. Hope in the form of a prophecy in the young girl who carries it. There's also a Firefly holiday special this month, and there's a new Dune series coming, A Whisper of Caladan Seas. Ablaze has an interesting one, Animal Castle. On the farm, all animals are equal. In the castle, some are more equal than others. Nestled in the heart of a farm forgotten by man, the Animal Castle is ruled with an iron hoof by President Silvio. The bull and his dog militia savor their power while other animals are exhausted by work until the arrival of Axcard, the traveling rat who will teach them the secrets of civil disobedience. Aftershock is bringing back the Maniac of New York series with The Bronx is Burning. They also have The Tales of Mother F. Goose. The three little pigs are gluttonous casino owners. Little Miss Muffet is a hard-nosed cop with arachnophobia. The three blind mice are ocularly impaired assassins. Puss in Boots is a feline-faced scumbag. Welcome to the Tales of Mother F. Goose, where your favorite fairy tales are turned into twisted characters right out of a Tarantino movie. AWA is bringing back Hotel for Volume 2. 5 more interconnected stories chronicling another harrowing week at the Peria Courts, the mysterious roadside motel where lost souls make their last stand with the demons that haunt them. They're also coming out with Crimson Cage, which fascinates me. Double Double, Toil and Trouble. Brace yourself for a no-holds-barred reimagining of Macbeth. New Orleans, 1984. Chuck Frenzy is the main event star of the local Louisiana pro wrestling territory, but yearns for something greater. A fateful encounter with a trio of terrifying beings in the bayou gives Chuck a glimpse of the championship glory beyond and is beyond his wildest dreams, and if he is willing to do something terrible to achieve it. Fantagraphics is bringing back a new series of Red Room called Trigger Warning. This is by local creator Ed Pisker. Mad Cave has a Last Session book, which is a D&D book. Roll for Initiative, Jay, Lena, Drew, Walter, and Shen have played dice and death traps together since high school. Now they're on the verge of graduating college and scattering. They've decided to finally complete their unfinished first campaign. But when Jay's partner Cassandra joins as a new player, Lana's afraid the party won't ever finish their quest. Red 5 has one called Download. When Eric is hit by a mysterious blast of light from space, he suddenly finds his mind filled with designs for strange devices. But when he blindly begins building them, he won't discover what they do until he and his friends turn them on. But do they dare? Also one called Mega. A gigantic creature has been awakened from its eternal sleep in Antarctica. The destructive creature, only known as the Salamander, has started a journey of chaos and destruction. The only thing that could stop this menace is another sleeping giant, the creature under the ocean known as Mega. Scout has one, A King's Vengeance. A vexed warrior who was once a loving father and husband is brought back to life 25 years later and proceeds to avenge himself on the demons responsible. And Cult of Icarus. Tossed out by her foster family after one too many rides home in the back of a police car, Hunter packs up and sets out on a mission to find out who she is. A mysterious book, the only link to her parents, leads her to discover a covert world of magic and danger running parallel to our own. One punk rock show, 2 whiskeys, and 3 vicious vampire assassins later, Hunter's on the run from the ancient deadly Cult of Icarus. SourcePoint Press had Cult of Dracula, and now they have the sequel to that, Rise of Dracula. Blood on Sunset. It's June 20th, 1947. Former cop Clint Braddock is drinking at a bar on Sunset Boulevard when he gets a call from his ex-girlfriend, Beverly. Bugsy Siegel's just been murdered, and she found the body. She's terrified and needs help, fast. Braddock arrives to find the aftermath of a violent, sadistic murder. Not your typical mob hit. It almost looks like the work of eaters. Amidst the carnage, Braddock finds evidence that someone may be trying to pin the murder on him. Braddock is part eater and has spent years keeping his true nature hidden. Who's trying to expose him? Titan is doing Cowboy Bebop, which is a live-action Netflix show based on the anime, so they're doing a comic of the live-action show. An original story set in the year 2071, the bounty hunter crew of the spaceship Bebop chase an ex-gang member who holds a vest which gives the wearer unlimited luck. And then Vault always has some interesting ones. We get End After End. Life is nothing if not a series of endings. School, job, friendships, love. Walter Williams' end was fast and unexpected. His was an unremarkable life. So how is it that his story continues as cannon fodder in an endless war waged against an insatiable darkness, hell-bent on consuming all of existence? And is Walter right in believing that he's arrived in the midst of this titanic battle as the one destined to finally end it? And We Ride Titans. Trying to keep your family from imploding is a tall order. Kid Hobbs is about to find out it's an even taller order when that family has been piloting the Titan that protects the new Hyperion from kaiju for generations. Between a spiraling brother, a powder keg of a father, and a whole bunch of 20-story monsters, she's got her work cut out for her. So those are all the new books that are coming out in December. All the other books that have been coming out are continuing. We have a bunch of new graphic novels are going to be coming out. There's going to be lots of sales going on. Most of them starting on the 13th. That's when I begin my 12 Days of Festivus sale, so keep an eye on what's going on, different sale every day. As always, you can reach me at websites pittsburghcomics.com. Facebook is Pittsburgh Comics. Twitter and Instagram are PGH Comics. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for Comic Previews Theater. See ya.
There are no ghosts hiding in the attic, or boogeymen under the bed. No demons whispering in your ear.
Aye, we got a live one here for you, Doctor.
Yes, yes. They send all their troubles here and expect me to take care of them. What have we got this time?
They found it in the old city parts, locked in some deranged murderer's basement.
How ghastly. Well, go on then. Let's have a look.
So they say to the children, and try to assuage their own fears.
Dear Lord.
But deep in their hearts, they know. Not a word of it is true.
It's loose. Easy there. It's getting away. I got it.
So to all that say there are no such things as monsters, I say,
What the bloody hell is that?
lock your doors and say your prayers.
An abomination is what that is. No, my good gentleman, far from it.
For the monsters are real,
She's a miracle.
and
Send for Dr. Sims now.
they are here.